The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Goonies Comedy Club.
Hey everybody! It stops very abruptly, Mark.
It's good too.
It is. It's sweet. It's our intro, folks. Happy evening to you. Hope you're having a good evening. John Russell here. I am not stuck. Well, I'm still stuck at home, but finally, after many requests, we have an opportunity to talk with the owner of Goonies Comedy Club, Mark Klampe. Good evening, Mark. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm very happy you're here. I miss you. I miss all the phone calls. I miss all the.
Definitely diminished.
I know. I miss all the times getting chewed out because some guy at open mic screwed something up, even if I wasn't there. But point being, we had an announcement last week about the state of Minnesota moving into phase 3, which means that entertainment venues such as Goonies are going to be able to open, even though it's a diminished capacity, but they're going to be able to open. And so we're wondering if you have any news about that.
Well, yes and no. Other than the phase chart that shows that entertainment venues can open at 25% and restaurants can open at 50% of capacity, that's where we're at right now. We are inside the Crooked Pint, so we pretty much have to follow their lead. They open the doors. We don't have a key to our own place because it is inside their restaurant. Still waiting to hear back from them if they are opening on Wednesday, which is the June 10th, the day that restaurants can have people inside. It's the 25% is the biggest hang up for me because I can't open Goonies and only have 25% capacity. 50% I could maybe get by with, but that's going to be my minimum to do it. And so hopefully they'll notice after the first week of having restaurants open at 50% that they can extend it to entertainment venues such as ours. That'd be great.
And so because moving to that phase happened in like 2 weeks, didn't it? A week or 2 weeks?
Pretty much, yep. It seemed like June was a lost cause, just a week ago.
Yeah.
And then now I think there is hope for the 20th is what I'm targeting right now.
It was Andy. Yes, it was. Happy to see you guys both. So given that fact, if there was a change, it would be great, Beth. We would love it. Given that fact, do you have a date in mind that you think you might, that you're shooting for?
Well, like I said, the 20th is first. And then if it doesn't change, then I'm going to go week by week. And the best I can do is just communicate with the comics that we already have booked. I'm already sad that we lost last weekend and this weekend because we had a couple great headliners booked.
The headliner last week was freaking awesome.
That's what I've heard.
I heard.
Mostly from him, but...
No, I never hear it from him. I usually hear it from his mom.
No, but we'll get you back on a weekend once we get rolling.
Yeah, I know. So now let me ask you this. I know for the summer, you've gone to Saturday nights only.
Yeah, we started doing that last year.
Yeah. And so given the fact that there may be some people that are really excited and want to get out and want to do things, if the first few shows sell out, or if a show sells out, would you consider opening one on Friday?
Probably not.
No,
not at this point. I mean, we might have like a huge level fair for 2-3 weeks again, or the honeymoon period. But just like everything else, it'll go back to normal at some point.
Randy?
And the summers are tough.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with that since 2006. Just there's a lot more going on. People don't need to go out to comedy clubs as much for some reason in the summertime. So now the only way that we could really do that to combat it from a business side was to, instead of spending a lot more on advertising and not getting people in, it was just we'll just reduce it to one night and see how that works. And I was pretty happy with it, how it turned out last year.
Yeah, awesome. Randy and Carlo can't wait either, by the way. Another is he scheduled to come down there? You know, you remember?
I only have it right now through August.
Oh yeah, that's right. So Randy, we'll figure something out.
Oh yes, definitely.
Because we love Randy.
We sure do.
And we love Andy Fisher, who's already watching. So
I'm kidding, Andy.
That's true. So while I have you on, some of the questions that people wanted to know, they wanted me to ask you some of the same questions that I've asked the comics, but in a different way because you're an owner. Now I know from my own experience that initially at the club, you when you first opened, you didn't have MCs. You had to MC yourself, right?
Well, I wanted to get MCs, doing it as a great, bookend to a show. And we didn't really have, I could have had our agency, send along an MC, but I was like, well, it's only a few minutes. It's just have to be a little bit comfortable up there. So
yeah,
I wasn't looking for too much other than, get the comics names right. That was it.
Yep.
And so once we got into it, or got like the dates that we were going to open for a show. Yeah, I did the first few weekends, but it was just more of, I wanted it to be a better show, not by having me on it, but just having a proper introduction for each comic and then a thank you, good night at the very end of the show.
That's one thing when we're trying to come up with MCs, and what we try to do is we try to train them in a way that, and you and I have discussed it. We try to train them in a way that, in essence, they're driving the bus.
Yeah.
And there's a way that you like things to run at Goonies, and that's how we like to train them. And my own personal opinion is, if you know how to do it that way, it serves you very well, because you can do that at any club where it's necessary to do things like that.
Yeah, the rules aren't difficult. It's just kind of like, be normal, be presentable, be nice, whatever, and get the comics names correct.
There's Mr. Showtime saying hello.
What's up, David?
It is your green room back there.
Yep, it's his room.
So another thing, maybe a lot of people that are watching may know this, they may not, but what possessed you to start a comedy club in Rochester, Minnesota?
Well, I'm originally from here, so the location isn't a surprise, but going to school in Wisconsin and Madison, there was a comedy club about a block or two away from where I was living. And it was just kind of on a whim. I decided, let's go there one night, and found out basically how much fun it was the first time on like a Thursday night, just random. Went back the next Thursday night and the next Thursday night. And it just became like a habit. Well, it's Thursday or Friday, we're going to the comedy club. And same location, but every show was different. And I was like, this is so much fun. More people need to love this style of entertainment. And if any city needed an enema, Rochester's right up there. So.
They're free at the clinic. Well, semi-free.
Yeah, but it is. It was called Funny Business, the Comedy Club, but then they've since changed it to Comedy Club on State. Mm-hmm. But they were booked at the time that I was going there through the same agency that we use here. So I got right in line with some of the best people I've met, and they still come to Goonie stage now. So it's been great.
And Funny Business also books a lot of comedy clubs across the country, a lot of corporate events. And so when people wonder, how do you get your comics? You're not just pulling them out of the street. No. These are actual vetted comics that have credits, that have expertise at working many, many shows. These are not just guys coming in that say, hey, I would like to do this. Yeah. It's a process that, and as Mr. Showtime can attest, he's been doing this for decades. And so when he comes to town, people know that it's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
As is the case with many of the comics that come here. They've got a lot of experience all over the country. There's Dan Bublitz. Hi, Dan. How you doing, buddy? So initially, when you were downtown, how did you? I'm just curious how you picked that building out. Because I know for people that don't know, you used to be down at the old Olmsted County Bank at about Broadway and 2nd Street, right?
Yep.
And no, you're not. You're 23, right? Oops. He says
What?
You're not that old. You're not that old. He's 23. So anyway, but you were downtown. Used to be the Olmsted County Bank. Used to be a brew pub. Used to be a good
Pizza
God,
place.
no. Used to be a pizza place. And then it was Goonies.
Yeah.
Did you have? How did you decide that was the place you wanted to be?
Well, we didn't go there specifically for that building. The idea came before the location.
Sure.
I wanted it to be downtown because Rochester, believe it or not, has a very diverse downtown thanks to Mayo, has with the clientele of theirs that are in the hotels every night. I just figured that would be such a fun audience with people from all over the world. So I wanted to focus on downtown. We're on the outside of downtown right now, and I had some people that I was working with as a backup plan looking on the edge of town. But downtown was the real goal. That building was available. It took forever, it felt like, to try to figure out a feasible plan to redo it because it was an open second floor
Right.
in the beginning. And we had to fill all that in, put in an elevator, bring all the electrical and the plumbing up to code. So we bit off a lot. Ideally, I was just going to open a comedy club, but when that building came as available, I had to put in a restaurant because there's no way comedy would have supported that type of a monthly payment, with
Absolutely.
just weekend shows. So put in a
Absolutely.
restaurant and winged it on the restaurant. So.
Yep. And so now we're over on the west side of town at the Crooked Pint.
Yep.
A lot. There are some benefits to being over there too, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not running a restaurant.
You're not running a restaurant.
Yeah, that was the hardest part of being downtown.
Yeah. There's plenty of parking.
Yep.
And it's nice. Yeah. There's Tony. Hi, buddy.
Hey, Tony.
Good cooks, he says.
The
So
best.
you've been doing this for now 12 years?
No.
13?
14.
So out of all of this time, and of course, a lot of people know the story about, now I can't remember. This is so terrible because I knew his name and I was going to say it. And you know the guy that you gave the bad grade to, and he's famous. He's huge famous.
Yeah.
And he came back because
Yeah.
you put that pit. Who the hell is the guy?
Why do I have to say this?
You don't have, because I don't, you don't have to. I just think that's a great story. I think it says to people that want to know what the hell's going on at Goonies.
Yeah.
It's, you see people that are going to be famous in 5 years.
Yeah.
National names in 5 years. Phineas Fogg, that was his name. No, that's not it. I think of his
That
name.
guy. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. So here's a good question. No pressure.
There's so many I can't even count. Really, I mean,
Who? Let me ask it to you this way: is there anybody who, after meeting them, when they first come into the door, surprised the hell out of you on stage?
yeah. I don't know if you know Matt McClowery.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has Asperger's syndrome. I didn't know that when I first met him, and I was trying to talk to him like any other comic, introducing myself and introducing him to the staff, and he wanted nothing to do with me or anyone around. I was like, what in the the hell is wrong with this guy? So I actually called our agency and I said, is Matt okay? I mean, he just seems like completely out of it. He won't talk to anyone. And then they were like, ooh, we should have told you. And then he went up on stage and just crushed it. I mean, he's just a different dude. Turned it on a switch, and then he just owned the entire night. And I was like, wow. Did not see that coming.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. If you have a chance to see Matt McClowry, go.
What's your favorite part about running a comedy club, Mark?
The show's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to I have to sit in the back of the room, and I love watching the audience's heads bob back and forth and, spit their drinks, stuff like that. Especially if I know a line is coming, where I've seen the show before or the joke before, I will walk around and just see if I can get a good view of someone that's just going to lose it, because I know it's coming. But some of my other favorite parts are when I just get sideswiped by a punchline that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't feel like work, and that's the best part about it.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious, do you still get to hang around a little bit after the shows with everybody?
Yeah, a little. I mean, I don't need to. It's a little different now, because I would say, comics and our staff, they don't hang out and drink as much as they used to. We're all getting older.
Yeah, that's true. The open mic guys, when I was still running the open mic, they would go and eat and drink at the Crooked Pine afterwards, and I would say, I gotta go home. I don't want to I want to get sleepy on the way home.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So let's see, what else is there to talk about? Anything else that you would like to cover tonight, sir?
No, I mean, it's just nice to, rather than shooting off a Facebook post or just changing the website every day to say canceled again, it's nice to at least let people know where we're coming from and what we're waiting for. I want to open as much as anybody else, but I don't want to do it at 25% capacity. I don't even really want to do it at 50, but I will.
Gotcha. Here you go. What advice would you give to newer comics, Mark?
What advice would I give to newer comics? Be yourself. Just because you've seen somebody crush it because they're loud and boisterous on stage doesn't mean that's your personality. Just go up there. What you find funny, just make it presentable and be yourself. Yeah,
and I would say quit.
You what? Say quit?
Quit. No, I don't mean that.
Ben. I'm not going to tell Ben to quit.
It's Ben. Ben, don't give Ben good advice. Kidding, Ben. No, I think for me, newer comics, the whole thing is you have to just keep working, and you got to realize that when somebody gets something, you ain't going to get it. Don't be jealous. Just keep working. That's all. Yeah. I mean, even an old bastard like me can get work. You guys can get work.
Yeah.
There's a good question right there.
Yep. Well, it's actually shorter than the last one, because that way I didn't have to build a step to get up to it.
That's
right. That was code last time. We had to have a little stupid middle step to get up to the next one. So went just rise and run.
Andy Fisher. Well,
some people think they can pull it off.
Yeah. As long as you get a hamster joke, you're good. Or is it a guinea pig? It's a guinea pig. I don't know. It's not worth remembering that joke. I remember your joke. So anyway, if you guys, anybody's watching, get questions for Mark, now's the time to ask. I want to also mention, and you can mention some about this too, because I've been doing this the past couple of days, and I feel like this is really important. During COVID-19, people are out of work. A lot of people need food supplements and a way to get food. And you also work at the Channel 1 Food Bank in Rochester. Would you tell people how they can donate best to a food shelf?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody being a food bank, and they think, most people would say, I want to go donate non-perishable food, which is usually cans, which is usually beans. There's so much of that stuff that comes through every food bank's doors is just, it's an abundance of stuff that not many people would eat. And it's a lot of times out of date. If you really want to do good for a food bank in your area, donate money. It's very simple. $1 can feed 4 people. I have to order all the food for 14 counties here, 13 in Minnesota, 1 in Wisconsin. So we've been ordering a ton of food, and we've been getting some fantastic monetary donations to make it possible. And with the buying power that we get, we can make sure that it's of proper date, that it's stuff that people would eat, and that, nutritious as well. So a lot of times when you're doing like the food drives that people do, you're just going to have somebody clear out their cupboard and give you what they don't want because, the poor will eat it. No, that's not the case. Donate money, make a difference.
Is there a website to donate money?
Do the food bank in your area. It doesn't have to be Channel 1 necessarily, but yeah, if you go to helpingfeedpeople.org, that's Channel 1 Food Banks of Rochester's website, and you can click right on there to donate anytime.
Yep. I also want to mention that in the case of Minneapolis, there's a huge group of comics that have started. Shea Webby and Ali Sultan.
That's amazing.
Ali Sultan, who's worked down at Goonies several times. In fact, he was one on our 4 for the Funny shows. And Bob Edwards, that runs the Comedy Corner Underground, have started this pop-up food shelf in downtown St. Paul. And if you've been down there, it's right by the huge, beautiful Allianz Stadium, but about 4 or 5 blocks over. All those stores got looted and burned.
Yep.
The Target, all the neighborhood stores. And so these guys are putting this up and they're popping it up, and it's fantastic. And I encourage you to support that. If you guys know any of those comics, Shea Cares MN on Facebook is where they're running things out of.
Super impressive.
It's one of the greatest. And most of the comics that I know have been down there. I know Dan Bublitz has been down there and donated and helped with things too. All right, let me catch up on some stuff here. Sure. If old bastards like me can get booked, can old ladies get booked too? Jenny, let's do a bastard and bitch show. I don't mean it, but I don't mean that. Jenny's an awful nice person. Let's see. Dan, working with an agency like Funny Business, how much say do you have in who gets booked? If you request someone as a feature or headliner, do they typically fill your request?
Yeah, they do. Now they listen to me a lot because we've had a relationship for 14 years. I wasn't really, other than, giving them feedback the first couple of years of how the shows went. I just was like, yeah, do your thing. But now there's a lot of times where they'll ask, like, if there's a fall out of a headliner or a feature that can't make it some weekend, like anybody, you want, and I'll just say, well, let's check some websites, who's in the area, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they always get me the people that I want back. And then they're very cool with like other people that I've booked on my own that I can just work with them on that. I'm just upfront and honest with them, and they are with me. So it's a good relationship.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's book this show. Yeah. When will you request, Dan? Of course, Dan. So let's see. Other than that, we talked. You and I talked a little bit about open mic. For those of you who don't know, I had taken a fantastic day job and was not running the open mic anymore. Andy Fisher was running that.
What, 2 weeks, and then you just quit the whole thing?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I was never getting home on time, and now
Andy.
Oh, Andy. Yeah, Andy ruined it.
Yeah.
You want to, if any of you out there have an open mic, you really want to tank it, hire Andy Fisher to run it for you.
14 days.
But we talked about open mic, and because I know you've got some emails, and I've got some emails about people that want to do it, want to go down and do it. We can't do it yet. And we won't be able to probably do the open mic until after the club opens, and probably by quite a bit.
Yeah, and well, that's the other thing. I just have to find out exactly what their plan is at the Crooked Pint. So if we find out, if we open on the 20th, we could very easily have an open mic the following Thursday. we have to have our weekend show before I'll do an open mic.
Yeah. Sneeze on one bat, you never hear the end of it. Well, that's how you do, Andy. And the other part of it is too that part of the regulations that I saw was that things you have to have a reservation. So for an open for an open mic to have a reservation is going to be kind of a pain in the new gaze.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. I mean, for like a free open mic, people would just say they're coming and then not show up, or vice versa. So
yeah. So we'd have to charge. Tommy must have August 8th, huh?
Yep.
I would assume by August 8th you'll be at least at 50%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing by the middle of July you're to 50% at the very least. But who knows? They could say, hey, nothing's going on. Let's change it next week. Okay. Well, other than that, some of you know that have been watching me do these interviews and stuff during the week at 1:00. I'm not going to do them anymore. And the reason I'm not is because my heart's not in it. My heart hasn't been into the last 2 weeks. The people that have gone with me, I love y'all. And I wish I could talk to everybody, but it became a lot of work. A lot of work that I don't need. Initially it was because I liked it. And it gave me something to do that I enjoyed. And then when I started having issues with people not doing tech, with people not taking it too seriously. I am, Ben. I'm hitting the road. No, I'm going to do stuff. If there's anybody out there that like for example, Tommy. I know Tommy is working during the day, and he's not available to do an interview at 1:00 in the afternoon. Tommy, I'd love to do one with you. Let's do it in the evening sometime when you get some time. I'll do them in the evening, and I want to do them with people that I want to talk to and I want to find out more about, and I want to ask all the same questions. But I don't want to be to the point where I'm begging people to come on with me, or people are saying, I want to be on. I'm like, I want to be on Kimmel, but I'm not on Kimmel. And it doesn't work that way. So anyway, and maybe that's me being a dick, but I don't care. So things that we will do though, continuously, do you want to do it in the afternoon, Tom, or do you want to do it in the evening? You tell me. Because I did it I was doing it at 1:00, and it's like with anything I do at 1:00 is like the worst time ever to do stuff. But anyway, point being, Tom, I'll talk with you. I'll send you a message. We'll get it figured out. One thing that was hugely successful that we did 2 weeks ago on Thursday, we had a match game show. And the match game show was some of my radio pals, comedian Logan Nielsen. I know you. Yeah, here's David. He's just waking up at 1:00. Well, yeah, that's because you're a big shot. I got to wake up at 9. I don't have to, but I feel like as a human being, 9:00's plenty late. Anyway, true. Well, yeah. But anyway, match game. So I got Logan Nielsen. I got Tracy McRae, who's a radio legend in Rochester. Megan Kennedy, also radio. Steve Lang from the Rochester Magazine, and Jeff Cecil from over at Laser and Fox. And we all we do the match game. But it's fun, and you can play along. And what we do is I go through and edit the old match game. There's Chris.
Sure you can.
Mark's got a garage you could stay in, 60 feet away from the house. So you'll be fine. Anyway, we'll do that again on Thursday. Match game. So please watch that. I mean, it's that I enjoy. I love the hell out of doing that. And you can play right along with everybody. And the big prize is just bragging rights. I wish I had prizes. I wish I could figure out a way to give people prizes. I can't. So whatever. Anyway, so there's that. But having said that, anything else you want to talk about tonight, Mark?
No, I don't really need to get anything off my chest. I'll just let you vent.
Oh, good, because I do it well.
Yeah.
Anyway, All right, folks. Those of you that are watching, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Continue to watch people do things on Facebook and lives. Go ahead.
I want to thank you for doing all these interviews. I mean, you on the Goonies page and everything, it keeps us relevant. So I thought you did a fantastic job. If you are hanging it up, sad to see it go, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, I'm never going to do a podcast because, why would I? Or are you talking to Mark? Mark doing a podcast. No. I don't know, Tony. That's kind of you to say, Mark. I appreciate you letting me do it on this webpage. Hopefully things will open up. Maybe I'll get some more people to do it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I just, don't know what I can tell you. But having said that, folks, thank you. Please watch things that are live streamed. Watch the virtual comedy shows. Watch when Mr. Showtime does a show live from the comedy club at the back door down in St. Louis. Watch that. When they open things up, try to go out to them. Do whatever you can. The creative people and artists that have been just aching over all of this stuff. So anyway, it did. You know what? I mean, tons, you guys, tons. Take care. What's your garage code? He just wants to know. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Anyway, folks, thanks again. Watch on Thursday night. We'll have a link up so you can watch the match game. And I would love to do that more often, to be honest. I'd rather do the match game than interview people. Nothing against people that I interviewed, but it's more fun for me. And I get to have more people on together, and it's just a lot more fun. Anyway, folks, have a good night. Keep an eye on this page. Keep an eye on the group. If you haven't joined the group, we've got two groups. We've got one for live shows. We may start streaming the shows if they sell out. We've also got one that's just a group interview room. And when we open up, I may do shorter interviews with the headliners, and we may post them there. But that's something to talk about when we're able to open back up again. So anyway, folks, thanks again. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.